Well, Hong Kong and Sydney. I mean, I lived, I moved out when I was 17 out of home and moved into that sort of lifestyle and, shared house. In Australia, places so cheap to rent that you can get this enormous house, 4 or 5 people living in it. It used to be cheap to rent anyway. And now that everybody's coming there, it's going up. But and you have all these people living in these great big houses on the beach and things. It's great. It's very bohemian.
Now, when you were a kid growing up in Hong Kong, you went to international school or an American school? Or...
No. Well, I wasn't allowed to go, but Dad wouldn't let me go to the American school. Oh, he said it was too American. I don't know. He's very, has to be British, So I went to King George V High School, and it was a very good school, actually. Very good school.
Do they have Hong Kong kids there? Or?
Yeah, no, well, what there is you have classes with all kinds of people, Australians, Americans, English, Portuguese, Japanese, Italians, French. And then when I got to Australia, I got into class and I was just surrounded by Australians. That's it. Whereas, it was a real shock, actually, real shock, culture shock. Australia's a pretty rough place compared to Hong Kong.
So that's where you met the Ferris?
Yeah, that's on the first day. Yeah, got into a fight at school. Was walking around like a little English prat, from Hong Kong, going, "Where's my class? What's going on here?" And got sort of picked on in a fight. And Andrew came over and pulled me out with his rather large friend Paul.
So he's a pretty decent fellow.
Andrew's a very decent fellow. He's one of the most decent people there is.
And then I guess his little brothers came up, or was he the real kid?
Well, I don't think they ever really considered it ever playing together because they're, the gaps in their ages was at that stage in their teens wide enough for it to be an enormous, gap. And they never really considered playing together. And Johnny was playing since he was 11. He's, been playing for years. And Andrew was playing. And then Tim was sort of out of school and playing with Kirk in the band. And I don't know how the circumstances got together. We all just got together in one room, and we had one drummer who must have taken too much acid or something, who kept on throwing sticks everywhere and was totally useless. And we got rid of him, and we thought, hey, your brother drums, doesn't he? I guess we'll give the little kid a try, And we sort of got him in, and there's little Johnny at that stage, setting up, and now he's a big boy, but we kept him.
I read that Andrew or maybe Tim saw it. He was stuffing all these, $20 bills in a jar. They didn't realize going on drumming.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he was making $250, $300 a week when he was about 14.
So this is the talented guy.
He spent it all, though. I can tell you now.
What kinds of things would you look for down the road with INXS, achievements that perhaps you haven't achieved yet?
Well, I guess I just like to be able to keep on making albums that we think are good, and successful, whatever we try to achieve on the album. It's mainly it. I think the main thing for us is to be able to keep on coming up with the goods. Secondly, I think I'd like to diverse out. I've already done a movie last year. I mean, personally, I'd like to do different things, but everybody in the band has different ideas. We'd like to put some of them together and do some of them separately. Tim and I are trying to make a documentary in 1988. Yeah, around the top of Australia.
Tell us about the movie, because I read that was pretty strange.
It's very strange. I don't know who's going to go see it or who's going to like it or what. No, it's actually a pretty funny movie. It's about sort of post-punk time in Melbourne, in Australia, about 1979. And there's a whole bunch of people living in the house, and there's the guy who's trying to get through his engineering exams, and there's this is all true. This actually all happened. I play a guy called Sam. I know the guy I'm playing, and I play him pretty close. In fact, it's very strange looking at the screen sometimes. It's like looking at him. But he's a very strange boy, Sam, and seemingly stupid, but very quick. And that's half his joke. I'm trying to make people sort of pat him on the head all the time, but he turns around and goes, gets them all the time, knows exactly what they're on about. It's pretty dangerous. But he's in a band which is sort of inconsequential to the movie, apart from the fact that because he's in the band, he revolves around the scene with heavy drugs, and it's really an anti-heroin movie, ultimately. And I hope it does its job. It already did on the movie. One of the guys on the movie was doing heroin and stopped by the time we finished. Yeah, it was great, Ed, yeah.
I had a great time.
Dogs in Space. We are all dogs in space.
I didn't want to say it and make it fool myself.
No, that's right. That's what it is.
Dogs in Space, and I remember they used to do Pigs in Space on the Muppets.
Yeah, on the Muppets. I know. No, it's not like that. But it's really entertaining movie, actually. I mean, if you want to see people are interested in Australia and what it was like and where really the music scene came from and the alternative scene out of Melbourne, which started a lot of music from Australia, that's the movie to see.
Now, are you the one who's into boats or boating or?
Tim's into fishing in a big way. He likes catching sharks and stuff. Big game fishing and things like that. He walks around, he's got a rod on the road. I don't know why. But it's like Kansas, you going out today, you know. You got the sharks are biting, are they? But yeah, I mean, I personally, I'd love to go out on a boat myself anytime. I love sailing, you know. Used to sail a lot in Hong Kong.
So now tell us about the documentary that you
well, this is, you know, talk at the moment, but if it happens, it'd be great if we survive. Well, supposedly Tim's drives in this sort of trail of four-wheel drives and starts somewhere in northern Queensland and drives all on the coast right up to the top of Australia, to the Cape, and meets me there in about a month's time while I come by boat from the South China Seas down with a documentary crew as well. And we both supposed to meet on the beach on the same day, well, within a few days of each other. And then I'll put together all this footage and make a documentary. It's like a layman's documentary. I mean, what happens to two guys that have been running around the road with babysitters all over the place, in coaches, in hotels all the time, thrown out into the bush or onto the high seas? And, you know, it's sort of looking at it not from a sort of educated documentary maker's viewpoint, but from a really different angle of looking at all this, because it's great up there. It's mad, you know. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, I'd love to go to Australia.
Everybody's going. You might as well get there. You'll probably see them.
We had a radio station from Australia, from Sydney, and they broadcast live from the studio down the hall.
Oh yeah.
And they were called Baz and Pilco.
Oh yeah.
It was 2UW.
2UW, right? That's right. Yeah.
And they were fun.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah.
They started their morning show at like 2.
Like 3 in the afternoon or something.
Yeah, like, I forget the...
Oh, they were going straight across satellite?
Yeah, and it was like the following morning in Australia.
Yeah. Well, we're tomorrow. Yeah. It's weird.
We're taking our show to London in October, and we're going to be starting there at 1 o'clock in the afternoon to have it broadcasted live at 6 a.m.
Right. It's mad, isn't it?
It was fun. They had guests coming up, and the whole station was activity, because there was like 2 morning shows a day that was going on.
Yeah, they had been, because we had Olivia Newton-John up here on our show the day, and we go to her, well, we got some people from Australia over here, and she went right down and went on the show.
Yeah, great.
And she popped in, and they were so excited.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I'd love to meet Olivia Newton-John.
They didn't bring Paul Hogan, so... Yeah.
Paul. Yeah, we just did a soundtrack song for his movie. It's coming out, Crocodile Dundee.
Did you really? Oh, I'm glad you mentioned that. Tell us about that.
Well, he just rang up and said, "G'day, mates. You want to do a rock and roll song for me on my movie?" And we said, "Yep, sure thing, Paul Hogs." And we did it. And actually, Andrew and I flew out to the middle of nowhere up in Arnhem Land in Australia, which is it's a sacred Aboriginal site, and he was making the movie up there, and he had, you know, we turned up and we had an outdoor screening of a couple of the runs, you know, and there's you know, you're sitting in the middle of nowhere, there's crocodiles, you can hear them behind you going in and out of the water, and water buffalo and stuff, and you're in an outdoor theatre watching all the runs for the day. It's really strange. And Hogs is sitting there just like he is. He's exactly the same as he is on the ads. I mean, it's the same man, you know. Yeah, he's great. And the movie's good. I saw the movie. It's really fun.
Well, he was on with Johnny Carson, and he said it's the best-selling movie in Australia ever.
Oh, yeah. Biggest grossing. It did, I mean, for Australia, it's nothing compared to America, but it's doing well.
Well, it's coming here, so we'll see.
I know, yeah. You should go see it.
People like him over here.
They do. Oh, they like. Well, he's He's a real character, and he is pretty typical of the Australian bloke, out there.
He's funny. He's very
dry,
very witty, like Johnny. Yeah.
You know how he was discovered? He was painting Harbour Bridge, and because they have to paint it once they finish one side, they have to start painting the whole thing again. It's so enormous, right? So they're just continually painting this thing grey, and there was an ad for come onto the show and do an act, right? It was one of those little dumb shows, right? So he walks on. He tells him that he's going to do. It's a very good school, actually. Very good school.
Do they have Hong Kong kids there, or?
Yeah, no. Well, what there is you have classes with all kinds of people: Australians, Americans, English, Portuguese, Japanese, Italians, French. And then when I got to Australia,